I always thought having a twin meant having a built-in best friend for life. Instead, I got the starring role in a true crime documentary about family betrayal. My name is Olivia Hayes, and at 34, I woke up from emergency heart surgery to discover I was technically homeless. My twin sister, Emma, had sold my restored Victorian home to her boyfriend for $200,000, less than half its actual value. The house was my everything. I'd spent 5 years restoring it, pouring every spare penny and weekend into bringing the 1890s beauty back to life. While Emma chased get-rich-quick schemes and moved from boyfriend to boyfriend, I was stripping wallpaper, refinishing hardwood floors, and learning how to repair century-old windows. "You're wasting your life on that money pit," Emma would say, rolling her eyes at my paint-stained clothes and Kalu's hands. "You could be living it up like me." Living it up in Emma's world meant maxing out credit cards and dating men with expensive cars and questionable income sources. Our parents always dismissed her behavior with a fond, "That's just Emma being Emma." I should have seen it coming. 3 months before my surgery, Emma started showing unusual interest in my house. She dropped by unannounced, asking oddly specific questions about my renovation paperwork and property documents. "Just curious about the process," she'd say, photographing my filing system when she thought I wasn't looking. "Maybe I'll flip houses too." Then came the diagnosis. A congenital heart defect that had gone undetected for years suddenly became critical. I needed immediate surgery with a projected 12-hour operation time and weeks of recovery. Emma volunteered to house sit. "You focus on getting better, sis. I'll take care of everything." Our parents were thrilled. "See? Your sister does care," Mom said, misty-eyed. "You two just need to spend more time together." The day before my surgery, while helping me pack for the hospital, Emma asked the question that should have set off alarm bells. "Where do you keep your spare house key and important papers? Just in case of emergencies." I told her everything. Why wouldn't I? She was my twin, my emergency contact, the person I was supposed to trust most in the world. The surgery was successful, but recovery was brutal. I spent 2 weeks in intensive care, heavily medicated and barely conscious. Emma visited daily, always when our parents weren't around, always asking the nurses about my medication schedule and lucidity. On day 15, my neighbor Susan snuck past visiting hours, looking nervous. "Olivia, something's wrong," she whispered. "There are people moving furniture out of your house. Emma said you sold it, but I saw the buyers. It's that sketchy boyfriend of hers, Tyler." I tried to sit up, setting off every monitor in my room. "What? I didn't sell anything." The nurse rushed in, followed by my parents and Emma. My sister's face went white when she saw Susan. "What's she doing here? Visiting hours are over." Susan stood her ground. "Tell her what you did, Emma. Tell her how you and Tyler have been moving her things out all week." My parents looked confused. "Emma said Olivia decided to sell," Mom began. "She said the medical bills were too much. I did not sell my house." My voice was weak but furious. "I've been unconscious." Emma's face changed, a look I'd seen many times when we were kids, right before she'd convince our parents that whatever went wrong was my fault. "Olivia, you're confused from the medication," she said smoothly. "We discussed this before your surgery. You agreed selling was the smart choice. Tyler's being very generous, taking it as is." As is. I almost choked. "That house is fully restored. It's worth at least $500,000. Now, Dad stepped in, using his let's be reasonable voice. "What's done is done. Emma's just trying to help. You can stay with us while you recover." Susan pulled out her phone. I took pictures of everything. The moving trucks, Tyler's people carrying out antiques, Emma loading files into her car. I even recorded her showing someone around the house yesterday, bragging about how easy it was to handle the paperwork while you were drugged. Emma lunged for the phone. "You had no right." A security guard appeared in the doorway, attracted by the commotion. Behind him stood my cardiologist, Dr. Weber, his face toward me. "I believe we need to contact the police," he said firmly. "I've been documenting all visitors and Mrs. Hayes' medication schedule. She was physically incapable of signing any legal documents during the time this sale allegedly took place." Emma backed toward the door. "This is ridiculous. It's a family matter. Olivia, tell them to stay out of it." "Family matter?" Dr. Weber's voice could have frozen fire. "I've seen your visits on our security footage, Miss Hayes. Always during peak medication times, always asking about your sister's mental state. That seems less like family concern and more like premeditation." My parents started their usual damage control. Let's not be hasty, Mom pleaded. I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation. Emma probably just misunderstood. Misunderstood what? Susan cut in. How to commit fraud? How to steal from her own twin while she's fighting for her life? As security escorted my protesting sister out, Dr. Weber pulled out his phone. I have a friend in the DA's office who specializes in real estate fraud. She's going to want to see this documentation. I lay back, exhausted and heartbroken, as my perfect twin's perfect mask finally cracked. What I didn't know then was that the house sale was just the tip of the iceberg. Emma and Tyler's scheme went back much further, and my surgery had just given them the perfect opportunity to cash in. But as Dr. Weber said while calling his friend, the best evidence is often in the timing. And medical records don't lie. The investigation unfolded like a twisted jigsaw puzzle, each piece revealing a darker picture than I'd imagined. Detective Maria Sandoval specialized in real estate fraud, and within days of taking my case, she discovered a pattern that made my stolen house look like a small part of a larger scheme. Your sister and Tyler haven't just been flipping houses, she explained, spreading documents across my hospital tray table. They've been running a sophisticated fraud operation. They target properties, forge documents, and sell them to shell companies they control. My hands shook as I looked at the evidence. Properties across 3 counties, all sold under suspicious circumstances. Elderly homeowners who supposedly signed away their houses while in nursing homes. A widow who allegedly sold her home while on vacation, except she'd been in a coma. But my house was different, I said, staring at the sales contract with my forged signature. This was personal. Detective Sandoval nodded grimly. Your house was their golden ticket. A fully restored Victorian, documented improvements, all paid for. They knew its real value, and they needed a legitimate property to secure a massive loan. The loan documents showed Tyler had mortgaged my house for $450,000 the day after buying it for $200,000. The money disappeared into offshore accounts within hours. My parents visited daily, still trying to smooth things over. Emma's willing to apologize, Mom insisted. She and Tyler can take out a loan, pay you back slowly. There's no need for courts and police. Your daughter committed multiple felonies, Dr. Weber interrupted, having become a fierce advocate. This isn't about money anymore. It's about justice. Dad puffed up indignantly. Now see here, doctor. We've always handled family matters privately. Is that what you call it? I finally snapped. Handling matters privately? Like when Emma stole my college fund and you called it borrowing. Or when she took my identity to get credit cards and you said it was a misunderstanding. The room fell silent. It was the first time I'd ever thrown their enabling back in their faces. All those years of handling things privately taught Emma one lesson, I continued, my voice gaining strength. That she could take whatever she wanted, hurt whoever she wanted, and you'd help her escape consequences. My mother burst into tears, but for once I didn't feel guilty. She's your daughter, she sobbed. And what am I, Mom? Because I've been your daughter too, but you've never protected me the way you protect her. The investigation revealed more than just fraud. Emma had been laying the groundwork for months. She'd copied my documents during her curious visits, photographed my signature, and even practiced forging it. Security cameras from my local coffee shop caught her meeting with Tyler, practicing my signature on napkins. But their biggest mistake was the timing. As Detective Sandoval explained, they got greedy. By rushing to sell during your surgery, they created an airtight timeline of fraud. Hospital records show you were under anesthesia when the sale was supposedly finalized. Tyler cracked first. Faced with overwhelming evidence and multiple charges, he turned on Emma. She planned everything, he told investigators. Said it had to be during the surgery because you'd be too weak to fight back afterward. The betrayal hit harder than my surgery. My twin sister hadn't just stolen my house. She'd weaponized my illness, turned my vulnerability into an opportunity. Susan, my neighbor, became my unexpected rock. She helped the police document everything Emma and Tyler had taken from my house. Antiques, artwork, even family heirlooms I'd inherited from our grandmother. They were selling it all online, Detective Sandoval revealed. Your sister's phone had photos of your possessions listed on various auction sites, posted while you were still in surgery. My parents made one last attempt at intervention. They arrived with a handwritten note from Emma, full of excuses and vague promises of repayment. She's family, Dad pleaded. Think of what jail would do to her. I looked at them, really looked at them, and saw something I'd never noticed before. Fear, not fear for Emma, but fear of their perfect family image shattering. I am thinking of family, I replied quietly. I'm thinking of every family she and Tyler have stolen from. Every vulnerable person they targeted. When does it stop? Dr. Weber, who had stayed late to support me through this conversation, spoke up. Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, your daughter committed fraud while Olivia was having life-saving surgery. She literally waited for her twin to be unconscious before stealing everything she owned. If you can't see the severity of that, you're part of the problem. As my parents left, defeated and angry, Detective Sandoval returned with news that would change everything. We found their records, she said, her eyes gleaming with satisfaction. 3 years of documented fraud, including emails between Emma and Tyler discussing their plans for your house. And Olivia? They weren't planning to stop with the sale. She handed me a printed email that made my blood run cold. Emma and Tyler had discussed taking out multiple mortgages in my name, assuming I'd be too weak after surgery to notice or fight back. The nightmare was bigger than I'd imagined, but at least now I was awake to face it. 1 year later, I stood on the porch of my restored Victorian, watching the sunrise paint the gables in shades of gold. Getting my house back hadn't been easy, but justice had prevailed in ways I never expected. The trial was a media sensation. The Twisted Twin headlines splashed across newspapers, revealing how Emma and Tyler's scam had affected dozens of families. My story, The Sister Betrayed During Heart Surgery, became the emotional center of a case that exposed corruption in local real estate and banking. Emma's defense crumbled when her emails were presented in court. Messages spanning years revealed cold calculation, not desperate mistakes. Once she's under for surgery, we move, she'd written to Tyler. She'll be too weak to fight back, and Mom and Dad will keep her quiet like always. The judge's verdict was scathing. This court has seen many cases of fraud, but few display such calculated cruelty, she declared. To target your twin sister during life-saving surgery demonstrates a level of moral bankruptcy that cannot be overlooked. Emma got 15 years. Tyler, having cooperated, received 8. The investigation also led to the arrest of 3 bank officials who had helped them push through fraudulent sales and loans. My parents finally faced their role in enabling Emma's behavior. During victim impact statements, Mom broke down on the stand. I always thought I was protecting her, she sobbed, but I was helping her destroy herself and hurt everyone around her, especially her sister. Olivia, I am so sorry. Dad's testimony was shorter but equally powerful. I taught my daughters the wrong lesson, he admitted. I taught one that she could do no wrong, and the other that she should accept being wronged. I failed them both. Their acknowledgement meant something, but rebuilding our relationship would take time. They entered family therapy, finally confronting decades of destructive patterns. The restitution process revealed the true scope of Emma and Tyler's scheme. They had stolen millions through fraudulent property sales. The FBI froze accounts in 3 countries, recovering funds for multiple victims. My house was returned to me through a court order, but it felt different now. Susan helped me sage every room, symbolically clearing the negative energy. Detective Sandoval, who had become a friend, gifted me a state-of-the-art security system. Your sister's actions helped us crack open a massive property fraud ring, she told me over coffee on my restored porch. Because you stood up to her, dozens of other victims got justice too. Dr. Weber continued to be a powerful ally. He connected me with a nonprofit organization helping medical patients protect themselves from fraud during treatment. Soon, I was sharing my story at hospitals and support groups, helping others recognize warning signs I'd missed. The experience changed me in unexpected ways. I started a consulting business helping people verify property transactions and protect their assets during medical crises. My restored Victorian became more than just my home. It became a symbol of resilience and recovery. Susan and I turned my ground floor into a weekend meeting space for fraud survivors. Watching people share their stories in my living room, under the antique chandelier Emma had tried to steal, felt like poetic justice. You've turned poison into medicine, Dr. Weber said during one of our now regular dinner gatherings. Your sister tried to take your house, but instead you've made it a sanctuary for others who've been betrayed. The hardest moment came 6 months into Emma's sentence when she requested a meeting. I sat across from her in the prison visiting room, seeing the stranger wearing my face. I'd had time to think, she said, her once confident voice small. I always resented how hard you worked for everything while I took shortcuts. The house became a symbol of everything I wasn't: patient, dedicated, honest. That's why you waited until my surgery? I asked. Because you couldn't face me. She nodded, tears falling. I told myself you'd recover, build something new. I had excuses for everything. But watching you in that hospital bed, knowing what I was doing, I'm not sure who I became. I left the prison with mixed emotions but stronger boundaries. Emma's recognition of her actions mattered, but it didn't erase them. Some twins share everything, but we would share only one thing now, a cautionary tale about choices and consequences. Today, my Victorian stands proudly restored, its history now including a chapter of betrayal and redemption. The garden Emma once mocked as a waste of time blooms with survivor roses, flowers that grow stronger after being cut back. My heart surgery scar has faded to a silver line, a reminder of both vulnerability and strength. The house she tried to steal has become a testament to resilience, its doors open to others healing from betrayal, its walls echoing with stories of survival. Sometimes, late at night, I sit in my window seat and reflect on how attempted destruction led to unexpected reconstruction of my home, my relationships, and myself. The twin who tried to take everything unknowingly gave me something precious, the power of my own voice and the strength to use it. My Victorian stands as proof that what others try to steal, we can reclaim. And sometimes we build it back even stronger.